Hey there, and welcome to another edition of Tour Confidential. I'm Ryan Aselta, and happy to be joined this week by Golf.com's Jeff Ritter and Dylan DeChair. And guys, Aaron Wise wins the Byron Nelson, his first career victory. Made it look easy on Sunday, the young 21-year-old out of Oregon. But as we look at the field from the Byron Nelson and looking ahead to this week at the Colonial, concern has got to be surrounding Jordan Spieth, who's playing in both Texas events near his hometown. And guys, let's talk about Spieth here. He finished 21st at the Byron, but the putter continues to struggle, Jeff. This is a guy who is in the top 20 in every important strokes gained category except putting, where he's outside the top 125 in basically every putting category. Traditionally, the best putter on the PGA Tour. What's going on with Jordan Spieth?
It's a little concerning. I'm not going to panic with Jordan Spieth yet. I think you're talking mostly about short putts as opposed to longer putts. The putts inside 5 feet is where he's just a statistical outlier. He's missed a few, and you can drop down the list really fast on tour. But I just think right now it's just going through a little something. When you're talking about short putting, it's mental, not physical. Jordan Spieth has proven himself time and again to be one of the most, if not the most, mentally tough competitor out on tour. You look at the way he's won the majors that he has. I am not worried. I think it's good that he's playing this week again, to just get right back out there and keep trying to push through this, because he didn't have a good week on the greens, obviously, at Trinity. Let's just see him get back out there and get this smoothed out. But I'm not going to panic yet on Jordan Spieth.
Dylan, what do you think? We saw him miss that 1-foot putt, which you never see from Jordan Spieth. But statistically, he's playing good golf everywhere else outside of the putting green. What do you see going on with him?
Yeah, I mean, he is, and I think that's important to note. I think he's second overall in strokes gained tee to green, but I'm a little more worried, I think, than Jeff is. I think you look at, any one particular piece, like that missed 1-footer, sure, you can dismiss that. Even a bad week on the greens, they're new greens, new golf course, even though he plays there a bunch, sure, throw that out. But you look over the course of the whole season, and some of the stuff that has always made him great, making so many putts from 10, 15, 25 feet, he hasn't done any of that. And to be not just, middle of the pack, but really at the bottom of the tour in putting, it's a little concerning. I think this week we'll learn a lot more. At the Colonial greens, he said he feels really comfortable on. He has no trouble reading them. He's putted well there in the past. So I think we'll see a little more this week. And it's not necessarily time to panic, but putting's hard. Once you lose it, it's harder to get it back, I think, than other parts of the game. What's
the road ahead look like, Jeff? He'll play Colonial, where he's won before, so there's a comfort level. But the U.S. Open on the horizon here, you've got a putt to win a U.S. Open. But Jordan Spieth has shown, when it comes to bouncing back, there's really no one better on the tour. Can he get things right in time for Shinnecock Hills?
That's my point, is the mental strength. Yeah, you can't putt. You can't win an Open without putting. You can't win anywhere on tour without putting, certainly inside 10 feet. So I think it's great that he's got 2 more events he's going to play this week. I would expect to see him play the Memorial and then probably take a week off to prep for Shinnecock. So I think 2 weeks is plenty of time to fix whatever this bug is. I think I wouldn't even call it the yips yet. You're 24 years old. You can't have it's early onset yips. I don't think that's what it is.
Is that a term? Early onset yips?
Yipiditis? I don't know what you would. Yeah, there's probably another term for it if it's happening that early in your career. But I don't think that's what it is. I think the 2 weeks that he still has left, 2 events left before the Open, can serve him well, and I think it will.
Kind of surprising. Didn't fare too well. He's a founding member at Trinity Forest, where he plays, his instructor is, so we expected a little bit more out of him. And let's talk about Trinity Forest. A new course debuted this past week on the PGA Tour. We don't see a whole lot of new on the PGA Tour ever. When it comes to courses, they switched things up. They went from TPC Las Colinas to Trinity Forest. Mixed reviews. Some of the golfers loved it. A guy like Matt Kuchar, who hasn't missed a cut in ages, misses the cut and didn't have the greatest things to say about the course. Would you like to see the Tour do more of this, Dylan, and mix it up and switch their venues when it comes to Tour events?
Definitely. I loved it, and I thought that the course actually acquitted itself pretty well. I would have loved actually to see it be more itself, be firmer, faster. I know they had some rain to contend with, but I think the PGA Tour also, got a little bit scared that there were some potentially negative reviews going to come in, and so they made the greens a little longer, the fairways a little longer, so some of the features didn't play as dramatically as they otherwise would have. But players can be so resistant to change on the PGA Tour, and I just love seeing them, maybe tested in a little bit different way. Jeff Ogilvy said something really interesting early in the week, which was that, if you took these players and put them on Augusta National for the first time, never seen anything, never heard anything about it before, they would hate it. They'd say the greens are too severe, some of these shots are too crazy, it doesn't make sense. So I think some of these courses need time to get 100% consensus on. But I love to see them change it up a little bit.
What do you think, Jeff? We've seen this with the FedEx Cup playoffs where they have sometimes a rotation, especially in the New York area. Last year, a new course at Glen Oaks debuted, and then they move the site of the Northern Trust around each year. But some of the traditional courses, they're home. You play Riviera, you play Torrey Pines, you play Pebble Beach every year. Should some of these events mix in 2 or 3 courses into the rotation?
Well, there's several events on tour like those that you just listed where the venue is tied to the event itself and the identity of the event, and that's a classic tour stop. We shouldn't move from Riviera, but a place like last week the Nelson, this week the Colonial, they aren't necessarily. I don't think the venue is woven into the fabric of the event. So. I'm with Dylan. I think change is good. You want to get a little extra buzz around your event. You want to get people talking. You want to maybe get some new stars into the field that maybe would have skipped it otherwise. You got Jordan Spieth, who's a member at Trinity Forest, coming down for that. So change, pros are there's always going to be pros that complain about new golf courses. It's sort of human nature. When they changed the snack mix in our break room here at Golf.com, staffers, you could hear howling, at times. It's just, change is tough, but I think overall it's good for the tour, it's good for golf, and it's good for those events that could use that extra boost.
Yeah, for the most part, I'm usually a traditionalist with this, but I see the opportunities to move some courses around. Maybe, Dylan, the WGC events where you've got the Mexico Championship. Obviously, that is not a historic course, can be moved around a bit. They're going to move the Bridgestone to TPC Southwind in Memphis in 2019 to mix things up a little bit. But does the WGC almost have a chance being a world event to really move around and introduce new courses?
Yeah, and I think part of it is also showcasing some of the new trends in golf course architecture. And it's something that I think the TV broadcast needs to also catch up with a little bit. Is this week, the thing about the course is there are all these different angles you can play, sight lines and strategy. It's really contrast to the Players' Championship, which is much more, you hit it here, you hit it here. It's very much right or wrong. You hit the right shot or you don't. And so different courses with different angles and sight lines like that, I would love to see that come out more on TV. And just some of these new concepts that are actually being brought back from the Linksy courses across the pond that are being brought to, inland Texas or Wisconsin or all these different courses. If there are better ways to show that and show what's actually different and new about these courses to the viewer, I think that'll really enhance the experience.
And the opportunity is almost here. Next year there's going to be wholesale changes to the PGA Tour schedule. It's not official yet exactly what that looks like, but it's reasonable. We're seeing signs there's going to be a couple new events, some new locations, possibly Michigan being one of those. So changes in the air whether the players are ready or not. I think it's a good thing.
And we get back to some tradition this week, an old standby in Colonial. Obviously, Shinnecock Hills coming up on the schedule for the U.S. Open. Dylan, Jeff, thanks for being with us, and thank you for joining us this week on Tour Confidential. Be sure to join us next week right here on Golf.com.